Hello, friends. Raj Kapoor here. And in this series, where we are talking about non-profit entrepreneurship, I'm bringing you the second video today, where we are going to talk a little bit more in depth about the non-profit entrepreneurship. What is a non-profit organization? What's a social organization? Okay. What's a social enterprise? And what is the difference between them? It's really good to understand and distinguish between them. And then we talk about some of the historic problems versus solutions, because we need to see what is the big difference between an entrepreneur who opens up a for profit business and an entrepreneur who actually works with the nonprofit. The challenge for nonprofit entrepreneurs is much higher than the ones who start with the profitable ones, and we'll discuss that. So let's just go over actually what is a nonprofit entrepreneur. Nonprofit entrepreneurs are those people who believe that they can make a difference in the world, that they can make a difference in the world. That is why I got connected to nonprofits. That is why I have this group. Because if the knowledge that I have with 30 plus years of experience, if I can make a little bit of a difference with the people who are working with the masses, trying to make a difference, I would be more than glad to see that I have made a difference. The nonprofit entrepreneurs provide the society with essential services, and many of you are doing that: shelter, food, healthcare. Many types of nonprofits. There are so many types of nonprofits, including, as I said, social enterprises and charities. People who are interested in starting their own nonprofit should actually have a strong desire to help the world with an idea of for how to do it. See how important it is and how different the mindset is. But it is also important to be able to identify what needs are there in the society and how to fill those needs. How to fill those needs. That's a really important thing. And it is also important for people interested in this career path to know that this is not easy. This is not easy because there are no major big salary benefits attached to it, which means that some of them might really need additional job or other sources of income on top of the time spent while working on their organization. I want to give you an example here. My mentor, my first mentor, and I joined this nonprofit when I was very young. His name is Mr. James Edmondson, and he started this organization called Yours, Ours, Mine Community Center. And he built it from scratch. He had joined it when it was in its infancy, and he took it to multi-million dollars, where he actually created an organization which started with helping just the children of the community. But from there, it grew to help the senior citizens. We had a whole senior citizen department there where senior citizens used to come in and they used to have food. There was transportation for them. There was childcare for young children. And I was there 18 years in that organization, working hand in hand with him because the mission was so critical. And we knew we were making a difference. We knew their lives of the people who were coming were being changed. We started a whole chemical dependency program where people with alcohol and drug addiction used to come in and they were treated there. They were social workers. Not a very large organization, but had its own building. There were around 50 plus people working in the organization. And as during the years, we kept on growing it. We started an adult daycare center with people with dementia because we saw that need coming up in the community. So you see, money wasn't attached to it. Finishing my master's MBA, I could have gotten a job in Wall Street, because that is what my first inclination was. But once I joined a nonprofit and all my energies went through it, that's where I realized that this is my passion. Now, I always had businesses on the side because I wanted something tangible. But this nonprofit really was there to give me that passion that I had inside to help people. Now, I was in finance field, but I needed to make sure that we were able to open new programs. How were we able to get the money? How to manage the money? And all those things to keep a sustainable, a well run organization. Now, nonprofit entrepreneurship is about being an entrepreneur in your work, not just in your business, as I just stated to you, because these were new things that we were starting. It's about learning how to think like an entrepreneur and to solve those problems in the society rather than just in the marketplace. It's about finding new solutions to old problems. See, the problems in the society are there for a very long time, forever. But how to solve them by finding new solutions is what a nonprofit entrepreneur does. Now, as I said, most of them are there because they want to make a difference in the society and share their knowledge with others by giving back through their work. Mr. Edmondson, who I just spoke about, remained there for 38 years, and his name has become an establishment because of the changes he brought through in generations. Isn't that gratifying? No question about it. So, all the work you did, whether you got the money or not, was well worth it. If you are able to touch and change lives, nothing is better than that, my friends. So let's talk about a little bit about nonprofit organization and a social enterprise. So the most distinguishable feature of nonprofit organization is rooted in its title. As I had said before, it does not work for profits. All the funds that are generated are directed towards the beneficiaries, the social issues. That is the focus of the organization, the mission. Now, nonprofits are generally funded through charitable donation from companies. It is funded through individuals, government grants, and for this reason, nonprofits have to spend and put a lot of time in creating compelling reasons. Why should people donate? Now, if you haven't heard, I would definitely want you to go back to the videos that we had created on how to create funding for your organization, because that is where we had talked about weaving a story. Those compelling reasons. Why should anybody give you a donation? Okay. Fundraising or donor engagement is actually a fundamental part of workings of a nonprofit organization. Okay. So, as I had said before, you need complete transparency. So the level of transparency is much higher than with other profitable organizations. Most of the nonprofits are exempt from tax donations, unlike the profit generation ventures. But again, as I had said in my last video, and I'm reiterating it because I want to make a difference between nonprofit and a social enterprise, is that they still are liable for the employment taxes for their employees. Now, most of the time, nonprofits are working for the social good. So, what is a social enterprise? Social enterprise is based on its name. A social enterprise is a venture that is focused on an end goal of creating a positive social and environmental change as well as a steady revenue. That's the big difference. A social enterprise can be selling goods or services that advance social, economic, or environmental cause. See, social enterprises are structured like a commercial business. That's the big difference. With a business model, they have a consumer base and they have different revenue streams. These revenue streams go back into the initiatives of the enterprise, okay, apart from the investors that have to be paid back. And that is how it creates self sufficiency in their operations. So, as I said, they're built like commercial enterprises, but they're concerned also with building profits as well as doing social good. But unlike nonprofits, they are generally not tax exempt. So, ideally, a social enterprise can be financially self sustaining. However, they are able to get funds, they are able to get grants. Now, investment in organizations striving for social good is a part of an initiative that has been becoming actually very popular nowadays, because what it is called is it's called impact investing. So investors try to put the money in because they feel that they are making an impact, and that is a model which is very different from a nonprofit. Now, nonprofits can definitely take a part of it and create multiple revenue streams. As we go through the series, we are going to talk more about those things as to how to create those funding streams, because more funding streams that come in, the better off and the more steady the nonprofit can be. Because many times a funding stream coming from a government grant just dries up fast. And what happens? There's no other revenue avenue, and the nonprofits many times close down. But if you rely on different streams of income, then you know how you can sustain. And you also need to know how many months worth of money you have in there if those funding streams ever dry up. Now, social enterprises are quite environmentally conscious and strive to be environmentally sustainable in the business venture because they are financially sustainable. One other thing is another characteristic of social enterprise is employment of people who are often marginalized from the workforce. Okay, many women are a part of these impact social enterprises because this allows them to create something for social good. There are many of them. So, how are they different? As I said, the main difference is the sources of funding. Nonprofits rely mainly on public funding through donations. Social enterprises are businesses, they generate their own profits to keep themselves running. Essential, essential difference is how they get their money. Many times, as I said, social enterprises also have a product or service that they sell to a consumer base in some way. Nonprofits, most of them work on social issue, advocacy, direct aid, food relief, empowerment. See, these are the big differences between a social enterprise and nonprofit. Let's talk a little bit about historic problems with versus new solutions. The reason I'm talking about this is because let's say right now you open up a new venture, which is a profitable venture. And what is going on right now after COVID is that most of the online internet, the environment where you're connecting with people, all those things are going up like crazy. They have made, I heard that they have made in last 3 years, they have made a difference which could last for over 20 years. The progress I'm saying in those fields. So new apps are being created, new automations are being created. That is because there's a need. Now, if you go back 20 years and somebody created an app, like let's say TikTok came in, where you're creating those videos and you're putting them, Instagram, Twitter, all these things are there. If somebody had this idea 20 years ago and they created something like this, it wouldn't have been successful because people did not have the smartphones to actually view those things. So there's a timing issue. The big difference between nonprofits, what they're doing is the issues are old issues. New issues are coming up, but most of the issues are old. So let me talk a little bit about that. Like other entrepreneurs, what nonprofits do is they partner with like minded investors to enact new solutions in the sector. The founders of nonprofit face the challenge of solving historic problems that have been around since the beginning of civilization. For example, homelessness, hunger, poverty, disease, illiteracy, war. And as I said, in contrast, startup founders must solve the problem that exists today. As I said, how to make an app, make it more user friendly, how to get people's attention for their brand message, how to increase the sales in the brick and mortar stores. So, the best way to overcome what we are talking about nonprofits is to make sure that you're aware of what your competition is doing. Okay. Now you can do this through social media and other means. You see what is working for them, and then why shouldn't you do it if it is not being served in your area? And that is the reason we created this platform. So you can learn from people all around the world, network with them. I can give you my knowledge, what I can. But if you have anything that you want to share, please message me and let me get you in front of people, because that will make a difference. Because there are so many people right now here who are trying to make a difference with the other people. Now, you do need to understand how much money you have and how you can spend it. So, all those have to be taken into consideration. So, how do you get to people to think that there is a problem? You start showing them that there's a problem. You show them one problem, then you show them the other problem, which has been existing for a long time. Because what happens is most of the people who are working, they get blinded because this is happening every single day. Lots of nonprofits are vying for money, but if you're able to make that cause, because the problems are historic, so you can connect with people. But what solution are you going to use? That is the key factor. So you keep on doing it until it becomes obvious that there is something that needs to be done about this problem. That's why I'm working hard every day to make sure that whatever insecurities are there with people, they can be solved. Okay. I've been able to work with organizations and solve them. That is the basis of the nonprofit, is to solve the problems. Now, this is what I read, and I would like to bring this to you. I'm going to read this. The final issue with long lasting historic problems is the way the public thinks about them. Dr. Helen Gale, president and CEO of CARE USA, said at a Classy Awards function in 2014. And I really found this to be very intriguing. The biggest misconception within the poverty and hunger relief sector is that either poverty or hunger has to exist. In other words, part of what holds us back from solving these historic problems is that we may not believe they are solvable. So, friends, as nonprofit founders, you need to seek to solve those long term issues and must convince your supporters that progress is possible. You may not be able to solve everything, but progress is possible. And any difference you can make is helping someone else think about it. One life changed makes a difference. So, next, what I'm going to do is in the next video, part three, I'm going to bring to you what it means to be an entrepreneur in nonprofit. And we are going to get into the depth and detail of that. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know your comments on this and what else you would like me to talk about. So, friends, this is Raj Kapoor signing off, present here for your better future.